A billionaire father watches a waitress feed his disabled son and changes her life forever. What if a single act of kindness had the power to alter the course of your life forever? Would you stop to help a child in need, even if no one was watching? For Olivia, one small, selfless moment led to an opportunity beyond her wildest dreams. Rain lashed against the windows of Maple Street Diner, streaking the glass like tiny rivers illuminated by the glow of neon lights. The steady drumming of the downpour mirrored the exhaustion pressing into Olivia's bones. Another long shift, another night spent on aching feet, surrounded by the sizzle of frying food and the clatter of dishes. But tonight felt different. The diner was eerily quiet, as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting for something to unfold. The only remaining customers were a weary truck driver, nursing a cup of coffee in the corner, likely stealing a moment of rest from an endless highway, and a college student, his face aglow from his laptop screen, frantically typing away, perhaps on an assignment due at midnight. As Olivia wiped down the counter, movement outside the entrance caught her eye. A small figure sat hunched in a wheelchair, shivering under a threadbare, rain-drenched blanket. He couldn't have been more than 8 years old. His dark hair clung to his forehead, slick with rainwater, his frail body trembling against the relentless cold. Without a second thought, Olivia grabbed a towel and rushed outside, her shoes splashing against the rain-slicked pavement. The icy wind bit at her skin, but she barely noticed. Kneeling beside him, she gently pushed the wet strands of hair from his face. "Hey, sweetheart," she murmured, her voice soft yet full of concern. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The boy hesitated, his lips trembling, his small fingers tightening around the edge of his damp blanket. I'm waiting for someone," he whispered, his voice barely carrying over the storm. Olivia's heart clenched. She scanned the empty streets, her gaze sweeping over the deserted sidewalks. No cars, no frantic parents. No one. "You can't stay out here in this weather," she said, her tone gentle but firm. "Come inside with me. It's warm, and I have something special just for you." The boy hesitated again, uncertainty flickering in his tired eyes. But after a moment, he gave the tiniest nod. That was all Olivia needed. She grasped the handles of his wheelchair and carefully guided him inside. The warmth of the diner enveloped them instantly, wrapping around them like a much-needed embrace. Olivia wheeled him to a spot near the radiator and draped a fresh towel over his frail shoulders. As she did, she noticed just how thin he was, how his fingers trembled even as he clutched the fabric for warmth. "I'm Olivia," she said, offering a smile, hoping to ease whatever fears lingered inside him. "Leo," he replied, his voice steadier now. A flicker of a smile danced across his lips, small but genuine. "Well, Leo," she said, playfully tilting her head, "I think I know just the thing to warm you up. How about a grilled cheese sandwich? And maybe some hot soup to go with it?" His eyes widened, a spark of excitement breaking through the exhaustion. Olivia didn't wait for his answer. She was already moving toward the kitchen, determined to make this moment just a little bit better for him. Minutes later, she returned with a steaming plate, the rich aroma of melted cheese and tomato soup filling the air. She set it in front of him, tucking a napkin into his lap with a tender care that felt almost instinctual. "This one's on me," she whispered. Leo hesitated for only a second before reaching out with small, trembling hands. He took a bite, and the gooey cheese stretched between his fingers. His eyes widened as he chewed, a quiet gasp escaping him. "This is the best thing I've ever had," he murmured, pure wonder lacing his voice. Olivia let out a soft chuckle, settling across from him. She listened as he excitedly chattered about superheroes and his favorite cartoons, his earlier shivers replaced with warmth, his loneliness momentarily forgotten. In that moment, her exhaustion melted away, the aching in her feet, the weariness pressing into her bones. It all faded. She was simply here, present. What neither of them noticed was the sleek black car idling just outside, its headlights reflecting against the rain-soaked pavement. Inside, Daniel Carter sat in silence, his fingers tapping lightly against the steering wheel as he watched the scene unfold through the fogged-up windshield. His sharp gaze followed Olivia's every movement, the warmth in her touch, the sincerity in her smile. A strange, unexpected pang pressed against his chest. Something foreign, something long buried beneath years of power and ambition. He had forgotten what genuine kindness looked like. And for the first time in years, he felt something stirred deep within him, something that would soon change both their lives forever. For the first time in what felt like forever, Olivia's exhaustion faded into the background. The long hours, the aching in her feet, the endless worries about rent, all of it dissolved, if only for a moment. Right now she was here, present in this fleeting yet profoundly beautiful moment, watching a little boy's eyes sparkle with joy over something as simple as a sandwich and a warm conversation. Leo's laughter was soft, but it carried a warmth that spread through the small diner like sunlight breaking through the clouds. His small shoulders, once tense and withdrawn, slowly began to relax as he spoke with enthusiasm, his words tumbling over each other in excitement as he described his favorite comic book characters. Olivia found herself smiling, truly smiling, as she listened to him dream aloud about becoming a comic book artist one day. "You know," she said thoughtfully, her voice gentle, "I think you'd make an incredible artist. The world needs more stories like the ones you imagine." Leo's entire face lit up, his blue eyes shimmering with delight. He grinned so wide it was as if he could barely contain his happiness. But what Olivia didn't know, what she couldn't possibly have realized, was that across the street, just beyond the reach of the streetlights, a sleek black car sat idle in the rain, its engine purring softly. Inside, Daniel Carter watched in silence. The CEO of Carter Enterprises, a man who had built an empire with ruthless precision, sat in the dim glow of the dashboard, his sharp gaze fixed on Olivia and his son. His expression was unreadable, yet something in his chest tightened as he took in the scene before him. At 45, Daniel had seen the best and worst of people, ambition that devoured, greed that knew no limits, alliances forged only to be broken. He had long since stopped believing in kindness without motive, in generosity that came without expectation. But Olivia, she had no idea who Leo was, no idea that his father was a billionaire. And yet, without hesitation, without calculation, she had treated his son with warmth, dignity, and the kind of care money could never buy. Something inside Daniel shifted. It was an unfamiliar feeling, something unshaken by boardroom deals and power struggles. He had spent years surrounded by people who only saw his wealth, his influence, his name. But Olivia, she had seen none of that. She had only seen a child who needed kindness. That night back in his penthouse, high above the city, Daniel stood by the massive windows, a tumbler of amber liquid in his hand, staring at the skyline. But his mind wasn't on the city. It was on the woman in the diner, the way she had knelt beside Leo, her voice soft, her presence steady, the way she had given without hesitation, without expecting anything in return. "She didn't even think twice," he murmured to himself, swirling the drink in his glass. He had seen acts of charity before. He had even funded them. But this was different. It wasn't performance. It wasn't obligation. It was instinctual, genuine. His phone buzzed, breaking the quiet. He picked it up, glancing at the name flashing on the screen. His assistant. "Sir, you asked me to look into her. I have the file." Daniel inhaled deeply, his fingers tightening around the glass. Send it to me. Moments later, his tablet lit up, the document waiting for him. He sat down, scanning the details with sharp precision. Olivia Martin, age 28, waitress at Maple Street Diner for the past 5 years. No family, no college degree, struggling to make ends meet, and yet there was more. So much more. There were notes about how she covered shifts for coworkers who couldn't afford to lose hours. Stories of her giving away meals to struggling customers, of using her own tips to buy a warm coat for a homeless man who wandered into the diner one winter night. She had almost nothing, yet she gave as if she had everything. Daniel leaned back, exhaling slowly, the weight of realization pressing against his chest. He had spent decades among people who measured worth in numbers and power, where every interaction had an agenda. But Olivia, she had no idea who Leo was, no idea who he was, and yet she had given freely. He lifted the glass to his lips, taking a slow sip as his decision settled within him. The next morning, as sunlight spilled through the penthouse windows, he made the call. Find her, he told his assistant, his voice steady, resolute. I want to meet her. Olivia's hands trembled as she held the envelope, reading the words over and over, as if they might somehow change with each pass. An invitation. Carter Enterprises. Why? Her mind raced with questions. Why would a billionaire CEO want to see her? Had there been a mistake? Was this some cruel joke? A part of her wanted to tear the envelope in half and forget it had ever arrived. But another part of her, the part that clung to hope, however fragile, told her she had to see this through. Now standing outside the towering glass skyscraper, she hesitated. The sun reflected off its pristine surface, blinding, untouchable. She glanced down at herself, faded jeans, worn-out sneakers, a simple blouse. She was nothing like the people who rushed past her in tailored suits and polished heels. Their lives so far removed from hers, they might as well have existed on another planet. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The lobby was breathtaking, polished marble, gleaming chandeliers, soft murmurs of hushed conversations filling the air. Olivia clutched her bag tightly, resisting the urge to turn back. A receptionist greeted her with a smooth, practiced smile. Welcome to Carter Enterprises, Miss Martin, she said, her voice professional, poised. Mr. Carter is expecting you. Please follow me. Before Olivia could second-guess herself, she was led to a private elevator. The doors slid open, revealing a space so sleek and modern, it felt like stepping into another world. This will take you directly to the executive floor, the receptionist informed her before stepping aside. As the doors closed, nerves twisted in Olivia's stomach. The elevator rose higher and higher, each passing floor pulling her deeper into the unknown. When the doors finally opened, she stepped into a vast, breathtaking office. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city below, stretching endlessly beneath the morning sun. And in the center of it all stood Daniel Carter. His gaze met hers, unreadable, powerful. I saw what you did last night, he said, his voice steady, but laced with something deeper, something almost like admiration. You took care of my son, he continued, his eyes never leaving hers, without knowing who he was. Olivia hadn't seen wealth. She had only seen a child in need. Now as she shifted uncomfortably, she struggled to find the right words. I didn't mean to overstep, she stammered. Daniel studied her intently, his gaze unwavering. He just looked like he needed help, she added softly. A flicker of something unreadable crossed his face before he gave a small nod. And that's exactly why I want to offer you something, a job at Carter Enterprises. Olivia's eyes widened. A job? But I don't know anything about business. I'm just a waitress. You don't need to, Daniel said firmly. What I need are people with a heart like yours, people who do the right thing even when no one is watching. He leaned forward, his voice quieter but filled with conviction. 6 figures, full benefits, stability, a chance to change your life. Her breath caught. For years she had barely scraped by, constantly struggling to make ends meet. She had skipped meals to afford rent, worn the same worn-out shoes until the soles had given out. And now, out of nowhere, a billionaire was offering her a life she had never even dared to dream of. The thought made her dizzy. "Why me?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. Daniel's gaze never wavered. His next words sent a chill through her. "Because when you looked at my son, you didn't see privilege. You saw a boy who needed help. That's rare." A lump formed in her throat. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but could she really step into this world? Did she belong here? A world that wasn't ready for her. Adjusting to this new life wasn't easy. The moment she stepped into Carter Enterprises, the weight of skepticism pressed down on her. The whispers started almost immediately. Executives exchanged knowing glances, their hushed voices echoing through the polished hallways. "Guess Carter's feeling charitable these days," one murmured. "Let's see how long she lasts before she realizes this isn't a diner and walks out," another sneered. Olivia heard every word. The sideways glances, the judgment. It all stung, but she refused to let it break her. She kept her head high, determined to prove that she belonged. She worked harder than anyone, stayed late, asked questions, absorbed every lesson like a sponge. Yet no matter how much effort she put in, some still refused to take her seriously. They handed her menial tasks, waiting for her to fail. And then disaster struck. The betrayal confidential company information had been leaked. The entire company was thrown into chaos. Investors panicked. Employees whispered in nervous clusters. And worst of all, Olivia was accused. Daniel's expression was unreadable as he faced her. "I need the truth." Her heart pounded. "You think I did this?" She couldn't believe it. After everything, did he still not trust her? She replayed the past few days in her mind, searching for anything out of place. And then, like a jolt of lightning, it hit her. A man at the diner. He had asked questions about her new job, questions that had seemed harmless at the time, but what if they hadn't been? "Daniel," she said urgently, "I think I know who might have done this." His eyes narrowed. "Go on." She recounted the encounter, her gut telling her that she had been set up. As she spoke, Daniel listened, his jaw tightening with every word. Finally, after a long pause, he nodded. "Let's find out the truth." Together they dug deep, reviewing security footage, analyzing digital footprints, questioning employees who had seen anything suspicious. What they uncovered was worse than Olivia had ever imagined. The real culprit wasn't just some outsider, it was a high-level executive, someone deeply embedded in the company, someone who had been feeding information to a competitor. Olivia had been nothing more than an easy scapegoat, a convenient outsider with no power, no connections. Daniel wasted no time. An internal investigation was launched, evidence gathered, communications reviewed. Within days, the truth was undeniable, and in a tense boardroom meeting, Daniel confronted the traitor himself. With irrefutable proof before him, the executive had no choice but to face the consequences. His career ended in disgrace, while the company narrowly escaped a devastating downfall. Earning her place. When Daniel turned to Olivia, his expression had changed. The doubt in his eyes was gone, replaced with something else. Respect. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "You didn't have to fight for this, but you did." A wave of relief crashed over Olivia. She had proved herself, not just to Daniel, but to herself. She had faced betrayal, judgment, and accusations, and yet she had stood her ground. She had uncovered the truth, and in doing so, she had earned her place. "I won't let you down," she promised, her voice steady, and she didn't. Lessons from Olivia's journey. This story isn't just about success. It's about the power of kindness, integrity, and resilience. Kindness changes lives. Olivia had no idea who the child was. She didn't help because she wanted something. She helped because it was the right thing to do. And that one moment of compassion set into motion a series of events that changed her own life forever. Opportunities come in unexpected ways. Many people believe that success is reserved for those with wealth, connections, or prestigious backgrounds. But Olivia's journey proves that character and heart can open doors that skills alone cannot. Proving your worth. Olivia faced doubt, judgment, and accusations, but instead of letting them break her, she pushed forward. She showed that resilience, not privilege, is what determines success. Trust is earned, not given freely. Daniel had seen the worst in people. He had been surrounded by those who wanted something from him, but Olivia's genuine kindness shattered his walls. Trust isn't built overnight. It is earned through unwavering actions. A call to action. If Olivia's story moved you, imagine the impact kindness could have in your own life and the lives of those around you. Join us at Talk Story, where we share powerful, heartwarming stories that remind us of the goodness in humanity. Subscribe now to receive inspiring videos that touch the heart. Like, comment, and share. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories to life. What lesson did you take from Olivia's journey? Let us know in the comments below.